Hi there, future Andy here. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who have watched these videos over the past couple of years and shared and commented and told me how I've inspired you, and in turn you've inspired me as well. So thank you very, very much. So right now it's spring 2025 and I'm just getting ready to get stuck into this year's projects. But before I get to that, I kind of want to go back a bit and talk about what happened in 2023. So my big project for 2023 was to build a so-called slutter rig, and I'll let past Andy explain what that is. My name is Andy and this is Marella, my 1977 Albin Ballad sailboat, which I own and take care of together with my wife Lena and our 2 children. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought, because I do try to read and reply to all of them. Again, thank you very much. So what is a slutter? I hate the word, by the way. I'm going to try to use it as little as possible. But there's this thing called a solent stay, and what that is basically you have your head stay, and then just inside your head stay you put a detachable inner forestay called a solent stay, and it's just a bare wire, and you hank on a jib onto the solent stay. So when you need a jib, you can just hank on the jib, and when you need the genoa, you just remove the stay and you can sail as usual. And it's not very common here in Sweden, but I see it a lot or see it on some visiting French and German boats. Now, if you take the solent stay and you move the head stay out onto a bowsprit, and you take the solent stay's attachment point and move it down a bit on the mast and put it on the original head stay fitting, then you end up with something like this, more like a cutter. Not a true cutter, because that would mean moving the mast further aft and having both stays in parallel, but a cross between a sloop and a cutter, hence the unfortunate name. Now, ever since we bought Marella, this has been my dream project. It's possibly insane, it's potentially dangerous, but the upsides are numerous. With 2 forestays, our options become really diverse. We can sail on the genoa downwind, just as before, or the janniker, and we can sail on the jib upwind. We can pole out the genoa and the jib, one to each side, avoiding the risk of uncontrolled jibes from the mainsail. And with a bigger bowsprit, we can put an anchor roller on there and some chain and a windlass in the bow. So I think that it opens up a lot of interesting options for us. So most of the stuff we needed to make this modification was already on the boat. We already had 2 sets of winches and 2 sets of sheet tracks, and the year before I'd managed to track down and purchase a used Forelex forestay, which I figured I could use as the inner stay. So the only major outstanding item was the new bowsprit. So in February of 2023, me and Lena came down here and we took Marella's old bowsprit off in order to make a mock-up so that we could fabricate a new one. I wanted to make sure the modified rig would be just as strong or stronger than before, so before we started the whole process I did a lot of research. I quickly discounted any off-the-shelf bowsprit platforms available as they weren't sturdy enough, and a fellow Ballad owner here in Gothenburg put me in touch with a great stainless shop, and after a bit of back and forth we decided on a design that would meet our needs. Using 3D modeling software, I made a model of the boat to figure out the look of the new bowsprit. Using that as a template, I made a CAD drawing, which I then sent to the fabricator. Sadly, there wasn't room in the budget for moving the pulpit onto the bowsprit, but that's definitely on the list of things for the future. Before he could begin fabrication, the welder came down to take some measurements, record angles and attachment points. I wasn't very confident that the tow rail would hold up against the forces involved, so we decided to move the new bowsprit down onto the sides. Of course, Before we could put the mast back up, we had to attach the new inner forestay to the mast, and I talked to several riggers during the course of coming up with this modification, and the consensus seemed to be that 40 centimeters or so below the masthead should be a safe spot to attach the forestay without risking the structural integrity of the mast. And so we rolled the mast out of the shed and started the process of attaching the new inner forestay. Okay, so we want 40 centimeters from the masthead around here. Huh? It's too far that way?
Yeah.
How much? Like that?
Yep.
Okay. Got this little bit of neoprene rubber that I cut, and that should hold it neatly in place. So now all we need to do is drill out the holes for this.
And before you go crazy in the comments, yes, the rubber is there to prevent corrosion, nothing else.
All right. Let's bring out our magical rivet gun. My friends at Viking Yachting lent me this. It's... Oh yes! That's insane. Wow. But the idea is that this is going to go in here and it's going to hold the stay in place.
And opening this up before I riveted the thing in place would have been a better idea.
All right, so should be able to. Yes. Okay. Stick the stay through there. Oh, that was tough. Finally got it in place, and then screw that in. Okay, so the inner forestay is attached, and it's looking pretty good. All right, well, I'm going to start cutting this open and fit the sheave box in there. Okay, so for this we're going to need the cutting disc. So after I sent the plans off to the fabricator, I started to get Marella ready for splashing, and that's when I took a step on the cabin top roof one day and popped a disc in my lower spine. And I was pretty much out of commission for the next two and a half months. All of April, all of May, most of June 2023 pretty much was out. And it's been a lot of physiotherapy, a lot of rest to get back into shape, and I'm still not as fit as I used to be, and I don't think this will ever fully heal, so that's part of the reason why there haven't been so many videos over the past couple of years, and I'm sorry for that. But anyway, in mid-June of 2023, we finally took delivery of our new bowsprit, and I started the process of mounting it on the boat. And that brings us to today. This is Marella's new bowsprit. The headstay is moved to its new location, and by sheer luck it turns out that both stays were just the right length that I could add a turnbuckle underneath them and tighten them, and this is perfectly fine. The turnbuckles are from our old standing rigging and they will get replaced, but for now they will do. So the situation right now is that the new bowsprit is fairly secure. It is safe to step on, but it is not ready for sailing yet. It needs a new bobstay, which is going to connect here and take up the forces from the rigging, and then the other end of that is going to connect down at the waterline. But in order to do that, I need the actual attachment fitting, and that's going to be manufactured by my stainless shop, and he's on holiday right now, so I'll have to wait another week or two before I can put that order in. But as part of my agreement with the stainless shop, I'm supposed to do all of the woodwork, and so I have some teak pieces left over from the cockpit teak project. I figured I could get going on that. The first thing I noticed today was that the stainless shop guy had been here to install the anchor roller. So now that that is in place, I can kind of try and fit the anchor in here as well and figure out how that's going to look. Well, I was waylaid by rain yesterday and I had to rush home, but back down here today I've worked on shaping the wood pieces and I'm now working on trying to space them out evenly. So the next step is to line all of these up and drill out some holes and tighten them down temporarily so that I can mark and line out where to route all of these edges and make sure that there are no sharp edges so you don't get splinters in your footsies and whatnot. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some tools and get the drill driver out and start marking these up, and yeah, we'll drill some holes.
Yes, I decided to drill every mounting hole by hand, and let me tell you right now that hand drilling in stainless steel is no walk in the park. The secret is pressure, patience, and copious amounts of cutting oil.
That is not quite right. Oh. So that's bad. I centered the hole incorrectly and now I need to correct my mistake. That is way off. How did I get that far off? Wait a minute. No, it's not that bad. Okay. Okay, this is salvageable. Well, I managed to salvage it by drilling out the wood from the underside, so this is all good. But yeah, it's getting really windy, so I think I need to cut the day short. But at least I've got one hole drilled. Looks like a lot of rain the coming days, so I don't know how much work I'll be able to do down here, but I mean, I'm still waiting on the bobstay attachment, and hopefully next time I can manage to come down here, that will be ready to try and fit in there. I'm gonna make up a little mock-up and play around with that as well. But for that, I do need dry weather because it's gonna require some epoxy work and some other stuff. So yeah, I'd rather do it when it's dry and looking like at least a couple of days worth of weather window. Anyway, yeah, this work continues, and I'll be back at this in a few days, I think. Well, all of the holes are finally drilled out, and it's taken a few days of just coming down here an hour or two at a time in this lovely weather we've had, which has been very rainy and very windy. So yeah, but finally I managed to get all of these drilled out, minus one hole here for this plank. I've lightly chamfered all of the holes just to get rid of all the burring and and any sharp edges that will hurt your fingers. And also I'm going to make sure to talk to the stainless guy and see if I need to do anything with this to prevent it from rusting once I've drilled out holes in it. And speaking of the stainless shop guy, the new bobstay attachment fitting which he is making is hopefully coming tomorrow. That's Friday, and the weekend looks like the weather is going to be pretty good. So I'm hoping to be able to both do the reinforcement work inside the boat, which means glass and epoxy. And while I'm working with epoxy anyway, I'm hoping to get all of the planks fastened down and putting the bungs in so that that epoxy can cure over the weekend as well. And speaking of the planks, they are now all set and ready to get put in here. I've done a bit of work already, drilling out holes for bungs in this piece here. Basically what I did is just using a countersink bit, drilling out a little bit, and then doing the rest with a regular 10mm wood bit, and drilled the holes about halfway through the plank, a little bit more than halfway maybe. So I'm leaving a few millimeters between the bottom of the hole and the underside of the plank, which the screw can sort of bite into.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode. I'm curious to know what you think of this. Is it a crazy idea doomed to fail, or a brilliant modification for our little ship? Drop a comment down below and tell me your thoughts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please help us out by leaving a like. It really does make a big difference. And press subscribe and hit the notification bell to follow us on our journey. You can also follow us on social media. Check out the links below for that. And thank you so much for watching. Fair winds.